All right, today I want to talk about, did the 2020 pandemic stunt a whole generation's development? Because it's like, first off, where did the last 4 years go anyway? You know, it's hard to believe that 2020 was, 4 years ago now. It's going to be 5 pretty soon. I mean, July? We're going to be 6 months in, halfway there to 2025. So, I really feel bad for anybody who was, I guess, in any sort of school. I mean, if you were starting high school or finishing high school, because, I was starting college when this whole thing happened. And, at least, I feel like the people who got the worst, if you were, a junior, or a senior, because the senior year, although, most of the things were a flop, like, at least I got to experience, prom weekend, which prom weekend was an absolute disaster for me. I still never talked about it yet on my channel, but it was an absolute, it's like that American Pie movie, honestly, like without like the, the getting laid part. That's, that's pretty much how my, prom weekend went. It was like super bad without like the ending, like fucking victory, right? Just like one complete flop and disaster, but at least I got to experience it, And I feel like as well, I kind of was robbed of like, my college experience. Although I did go to a community college, I still feel like if, because you got to do that fucking online soy Zoom school, just sit there, which I'm going to be honest, nobody, and even nowadays, I mean, you just fucking use AI to do all your schoolwork and bullshit. But, I just remember, like, what was it, like, March? I remember, I think it was, like, March 16th, when, like, Donald was like, oh, we're fucked. Stay inside, we're fucked. I remember I was sitting in a McDonald's, McSlopples with, my friend at the time and his mom. I don't remember why, but the TV was playing and shit, and, like, we were talking about it. And then, like, when I came home, like, my mom was dating this guy at the time, this bald cuck, manlet. And that was like, I don't know, that was like, everything kind of changed for like a little bit. I mean, now I feel like everything's just kind of back to normal, but obviously it kind of feels like that for me. I mean, I never really did shit anyway. Like after high school, I kind of was just isolated. I never really left the house as much. I would, I had friends, of course. I would see them like maybe once a month, once every 2 months. But, the average person, the average normie, they're all excited, like, oh, 2 weeks, 2 weeks by myself, online remote jobs, remote. And very quickly, which was hilarious to me, I mean, this actually was pretty funny to me. People started, like, after, a couple months went by, people started having mental breakdowns and bullshit over being alone, like crying over it. I mean, of course, I know it sucks. I've been doing this shit for like fucking ever now, it feels like. And my fucking, mental health is obviously declining. But it was just funny to see how like, in just a month, the average normie who gaslights like, oh, being alone, oh, it's not so bad. Just get used to it. Just, get used to being alone and, be happy by yourself. It's funny how like everyone who says that to people like me, finally, when it happened, everyone just started losing their minds and shit. And I even remember reading some article. It was like, people had to get like therapy pets and bullshit, like a therapy pony and therapy. It was just, oh my God. Actually, that reminds me too. I was actually reading a recent article as well that doctors are now asking, patients if they're isolated. Because, I've always known, apparently, like, if you're, isolated for periods of time, you don't really talk to people. It's like the equivalent to smoking a 10-pack a day, like a pack of cigarettes a day, which is fucking nuts, and it's funny to see how, like, nobody could handle it, and of course, I've always been like a depressive, miserable person. I never really went out much, as a kid. I had my moments, of course, thank God. But it wasn't like everybody else who would, they had like activities to do and friends to hang out with every day. And so I was just kind of used to it, and it didn't really do much. Of course, like I just kind of got like a little more depressed because, I even remember the next day after like the whole lockdown shit, I walked to the store, and like my mom flipped out. She's like, oh my God, what the fuck? What if you got sick? Oh, And, you know, I had to like, I had to wear like this face mask and gloves like every time I went out, you know, like in the future though. Cause I was like, after that, I didn't leave the house for a couple months. I think I went from like March to something like August or some shit without like, literally, I did not leave the house, guys. I stayed in that fucking house, just brain rotted on the fucking internet, you know. And I feel like this was like the rise of the TikTok, like the absolute fucking brain rot TikTok. This was the rise of that, you know. Imagine if I had my channel back then. That would be fucking hilarious, you know, just like sitting in my house all day. But yeah, so we had like the Zoom school. I remember, and for some reason, I don't know what it is, like whenever I'm like defeated, like whenever I'm like super defeated and don't leave the house and shit for like long periods of time, I just I just start wearing white t-shirts. I don't know why. Like I'll just fucking wear white t-shirts. You know, I call it the defeated white t-shirt, and they always get like stained, like for some reason. They always get like, because I mean, if you like eat like the slop, and I was eating just fucking hog shit slop fucking garbage, you know, back then, because you know, basically, so I would sit in the Zoom class, you know, on my fucking laptop. I'd wake up at whatever, and I guess, I don't even know, I guess like the slop like just completely like fucked my gut, and I would just like just lay off fucking farts all day long, you know, on like this, it wasn't even like a normal chair either, like one of those like those hardwood chairs, so it would like make like popping noises, like like fucking firecrackers, and like I was just fucking miserable, you know, just sitting in that Zoom class. Like, just picture this in your head right now. Me just sitting there like after like 2 months, right, of just rotting. I have my t-shirt, my white t-shirt on. It is absolutely brutally stained, like beyond repair. Like there's like just, they look like kind of coffee stains, like just, I don't know, it's just stained to death, like the white shirt. You know, I got shorts on, you know, no shoes. I'm just like hunched over. I'm fucking slop. Like I'm just fucking slop to death. Like I got so fucking fat, guys. You know, yeah, just like picture me in there, you know, just like obese, just farting on this fucking chair, like just laying them off like fucking AR-15 rounds, just constantly, just being depressed as fuck. And like, I even remember like this one guy was just so fucking clueless, because sometimes like it always depended on the class. You know, I would get up, I would just like fucking play video games with that bullshit in the background. And like I had this one Spanish teacher, it was like his first year, and there's only like 9 people in that Zoom call, and the guy, I felt so bad for him. Like he was the only one with the camera on, and he would always say some shit, like ask questions, he'd be like, oh, how do you say da, da, da? And he'd have like this dopey look on his face, like this like smile, like fucking Butters from South Park, like just like this dopey fucking smile, and no one would say shit, and he wouldn't even get mad or anything. He would just move on. Oh, I just felt so fucking bad for the guy. And even that shit was like, I cheated. Like I'm fucking low IQ as fuck. I cheated my whole way through college with that Zoom shit. I kind of got lucky with that. Didn't learn shit, didn't grow as a person, nothing at all changed since high school. Like I literally was just the same, just sitting in my house day in after day out. And yeah, like even in that class, I remember like somebody made like a whole DM like asking for like the answers for the test, and there's a girl in that class that spoke Spanish, so I got invited to this group chat, and I just fucking passed everything. That's basically how they all went, you know. Didn't learn shit. You know, I wouldn't even participate ever. I even remember this one fucking time, like, you know, my mom's boyfriend, he was at like he could have easily walked home, but it was like raining, because everything here is close and like walkable, you know, walking distance. He was at like this like convenient store, like deli type of place. You know, my mom had dropped him off, and, you know, I was sitting in the Zoom class because I'm like, you know, just sitting there, you know, same thing, white t-shirt, fucking farting. And, you know, I get a call from him. He's like, oh, I'm fucking stuck. Oh, it's raining. Can you help? And, you know, I didn't want to tell the professor, because I'm like, you know, if I just fucking leave, no one's gonna fucking notice shit. You know, no one even talks in this bullshit either. No one even uses their fucking camera. So, you know, basically, yeah, I went to go pick him up, and I came back, and I was fucked. Like, I got in so much trouble because, like, they had to put us into like different groups and shit. Like they did like the split off shit, like the split off meeting in like groups. It was for like some sociology class. Those classes sucked. All those sociology classes sucked so bad. But he came back and like he got all mad. He's like, "Oh, where were you? What are you doing?" So I had to tell him like, yeah, you know, my mom's fucking bald boyfriend, you know, he got lost. I had to pick his dumb ass up, you know. And he would run errands all the time. Like, that's why I got so fat. I swear, I think I at my biggest, I don't know if it was, I think it was like somewhere between 220 to 240. You know, like I'm a little bit over 5'11". I'm not 5'11" exact. But I don't know. I like, because this guy, I would tell him like in the morning, I would be like, hey, can you go get me some fucking hog shit from McSlopdonald's? Can you get me like fucking steak, egg, and cheese sloppers with a side of shit, with a diet, not even a Diet Coke. I would fucking hog down the normal Cokes. I kind of used to drink soda a lot back then. You know, now I don't give a fuck about it, but you know, I would get some hog shit for, I was probably eating like guys, like, I don't know, 6,000 calories, 7,000 calories a day. And you know, like the one thing that kind of, I don't know, made me change, like my friends were like, dude, what the fuck happened to you? Like when all this shit was like kind of said and done and like people started going out more and shit, they were like, dude, what the fuck happened? And I don't know, that I was just like defeated as fuck. Like nothing was changing, you know, because like the whole pandemic, you're just sitting inside. I was just eating shit for dopamine, you know, because you don't get dopamine when you're sitting in your house. You don't even want to leave it. Like it's like this weird dilemma you get stuck in. It's like, you know, you're depressed as fuck sitting at home. You're like, I hate sitting at home. Sitting at home sucks. I want my life to change. I want to do something. But at the same time, like since you're so fucking used to it, you're like, might as well just like stay here, I guess. So like that's kind of how I felt back then, and I kind of really didn't even have a choice because, you know, the pandemic shit, my mom was fucking scared as fuck, you know, about everything. She didn't want me to leave the house at all because she didn't want me to get sick, and I just didn't for like the longest time, you know. Like I feel like everyone's brains just kind of got starched from the internet, you know, like just the constant, you know, TikTok, just sitting on there for months on end, just not really, you know, talking to people. I mean, even texting people online and bullshit, it ain't the same. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you've ever, I'm gonna say this, like, even if you've ever, like, talked to somebody online, right, and you go to meet them in person for the first time, that shit ain't the same. It is awkward as fuck. It really is. But yeah, you know, I don't know. It was such a bizarre time as well, you know, and it wasn't even that long ago. You know, 4 years ago, it flew by just like that in the snap of a finger. I guess because, you know, when you do the same thing day in and day out, like, let's say, you know, for people like me, you know, there's not really much going on. Every day's kind of like Groundhog's Day. Like, I don't know, even like, I don't know, let's say, you know, you're on disability. You're sitting at home permanently, basically. Like, you have no friends. You have nowhere to fucking go. You have no reason to leave the house. Time just goes by like that. You know, when there's nothing uneventful, when there's no changes in your life, it just flies by. And I think that's why, you know, it felt so quick, you know, because of that reason, you know, just like sitting inside all the time, you know. And those years, you know, I won't get those. Like, I would say maybe for me it lasted like 2 years. I'm not going to get those 2 years back, you know. I was 19, now I'm 23. And who knows, maybe my life would have been different if this, you know, the pandemic didn't happen. I doubt it though. I really do. But it definitely is something to think about, you know, because, you know, I don't know, it's interesting. Because I feel like, you know, now, like, you can even see it. I mean, with my generation, it's just, you know, especially with men, it's just over. It is beyond over. Social skills, you know, with the rise of online dating, I feel like that's something as well, you know, with the rise of online dating, that kind of screwed things over as well, you know, obviously. And just made loneliness even worse. You know, because, I mean, you're not going out there. You just download fucking dating apps. I still get recommended that all the time. And I just gotta not get mad and just tell people, like, listen, I'm too fucking ugly for dating apps. It ain't gonna work. I've been on and off them for like the past fucking 5 years. They ain't working, and they never will work, you know? And, yeah, I don't know. For sure, that shit definitely changed the world, I guess. Wonder what's gonna happen next with just, not just my life in general, like, you know, just thinking the bigger picture, with the world in general, you know? Because that was the most unexpected shit in the fucking world. I don't think anyone really saw that coming at all. But yeah, I wonder what's next for society. You know, what kind of clown world we're gonna live in next. You know, what's gonna happen next. It's a mystery, but I don't think it's gonna get any better. You know, in my personal opinion, it's just gonna, you know, the decline of what's it called? Socialization. That's hard to say. It's going to get worse and worse for the upcoming generations. And so just, oh my God, just with the rise of technology and everything, you know, it's just going to get worse and worse. And yeah, I don't have high hopes for the future at all, but yeah, I'll be here. I'll fucking, you know, see how it goes. Right. You know, can't wait for the next, I don't even know, catastrophe. I don't even, who the fuck knows what's going to happen with this, election either. I mean, I don't even know. People are going to be fighting for no reason over two boomers. Like what the fuck? And that's just kind of like my point, you know, to this whole thing. Like, when you're isolated, I want to talk about this real quick. When you're isolated for long periods of time, you know, like, you know, you get so angry, and you kind of like, and like, I understand it. Like, you kind of just like create problems that aren't really like problems, you know what I mean? Like, if you've ever been to a protest, like and some of this shit to me just seems so fucking pointless, man. Like, even like during COVID, like, I don't know, people just, I don't know, everyone being angry, you know, when you're by yourself for long periods of time, and you're not talking to anybody, you just get fucking mad. Like, you're just pissed off. And I just feel like all this shit is for no reason, you know, like I don't know what to expect for this, you know, election, but I will tell you this. All it is a bunch of people who are isolated and alone and angry at the world. You know, they don't even really give a shit about who the president is. They don't. They're just mad and looking for some shit to do, you know? I mean, that is pretty fucking brutal. I mean, I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't know. I think that's pretty accurate, you know, for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. The pandemic for sure. Just wish I could go back and or I wish I could see like my alternative life, what it would have been like if that didn't happen. Probably not much different, you know. Because at least, you know, knowing everyone else is at home and shit, you know, during that time, it's like you know, it's acceptable to like sit inside and do nothing now. You know, you don't really take it as hard, but yeah, that's pretty much it for now.